Wall Street Journal drops another story. A poll. Democrats' approval rating craters to 35-year low.
Wow.
Not a 5-year low, not a 10-year low. We're talking about a 35-year low.
And they're not even in charge right now.
How much
crazy.
worse can it get than this? Normally, when somebody takes office, their rating goes lower and you have an opportunity to come up.
Yeah.
Not for Democrats.
Yep.
Normally, I mean, he has all this stuff that's going on with Epstein. The polls keep favoring him more and more and more. And so the poll comes out, revealed that 63% of registered voters view Democrats unfavorably compared to 33% with a positive impression, marking the lowest since 1990. While Trump's approval rating stands at 46, disapproval at 52, higher than the 40% at this point in his first term. Republicans' approval rating is net 7 points unfavorable. And if election were held today, 46% would back a Democrat versus 43% for Republican. Democratic pollster John Anzalone, who helped conduct the survey, said the Democratic brand is so bad that they don't have the credibility to be a critic of Trump or the Republican Party. Let me read this quote to you one more time, folks. The Democratic brand is so bad that they don't have the credibility to be a critic of Trump. You don't have no moral authority to say anything bad about Trump or the Republican Party today. Voters trust Republicans over Democrats on inflation by 10 points, immigration by 17 points, handling illegal immigrants by 17 points. Though they disapprove Trump tariffs by 17 points, which we'll get to that here in a minute, with Republicans still scoring 7 points higher than Democrats on that issue, Anzalone stated, until they reconnect with real voters and working people on who they're for and what their economic message is, they're going to have problems. Scott, thoughts on the story?
Well, Democrats, because of the Biden presidency, because they lied about Joe Biden's condition, because they lied to the country about the inflationary impacts of his policies, have dug themselves the deepest hole they've ever been in the history of their party. That's number one. Number two, cultural radicalism. I mean, when the hills you're willing to die on are boys and girls sports, paying for transgender surgeries of inmates, which Kamala Harris had in the last election. When you're willing to die on these hills, when you're willing to go and say Maryland man unfairly deported back to his home country, I mean, when you're willing to die on all these 80-20 hills, eventually your approval rating will wind up, I'm no mathematician, but around 20.
Yeah, exactly.
They're getting there. And so this hole they've dug themselves in, like if I can't trust you not to put a boy in my daughter's locker room, why would I talk to you about taxation policy or inflation or tariffs or anything else? You're trying to put a boy in my girl's locker room.
That's right.
Why? And so I agree with Anzalone. By the way, he's a serious pollster. He's been around the Democratic Party forever. This is a serious guy. He's got it dead right. They have no credibility to criticize.
Is he a liberal himself?
Yes, he is one of the most sought-after Democratic pollsters. The Wall Street Journal poll, they get a Democrat and a Republican, two serious people. They do the poll together. Anzalone knows Democrats. He knows campaigns, and what he said right there is dead right.
Wow.
Dead right. He is a serious guy.
By the way, when you look at this, Scott, question for you. So this is the net favorability of each party, right? Tom, I need your help on this one here. Up until 2004, if you look at four, for the most part, both of them are positive, right? And then all of a sudden, Republicans fall. That's obviously under Bush. Obama gets a little bit of a spike in 08, and then he starts falling. And then Biden has a massive crash. And Republicans since 2006 have relatively stayed at that negative 10 number, if you look at that. But what is the difference that caused this go from being positive, everybody was positive, then all of a sudden everybody being negative? How did that happen? Tom, what would you say?
Well, there's two things. There's an erosion of Americans' trust in government. And so when you talk about net favorability of each party, you say, how many of you favor, how many of you unfavor, and what's the difference there? So the Republicans have had a minus 10% favorability. And if you take a look at the core of it, goes in, it started crashing like 04, which is basically Bush's second term, and then stayed down when Obama was elected in 8, reelected in 12, and then only recently did the lines cross. But you take a look at what happened. Starting with Obama's reelection, the Democrat unfavorability, as the average voter is finding out what it really means and what they stand for, putting a boy daughter's locker room, what really doesn't work economically. The story of the chart is that even though people have eroded trust of the Republican Party, it has stayed level and picked up just a tick since Obama. However, starting with Obama, the Dems dropped below the line in 08. See that, Pat?
Yeah.
And look at the plummet, because it doesn't work. The Bernie side, the AOC side, the Marxist side, the DEI side does not work, and it's leading to these high negatives. And I have a lot of respect also for Enzalone. He's one of the ones I read and I respect. Also respect Mark Mitchell over at Rasmussen. Mark knows what he's doing, and they're seeing the same things. They're seeing the same things. And they're also seeing that you can't look at parties uniquely like this. You have to peel back a little bit. And on issues, the real story is what you read on the issues, is issue by issue, Americans trust Republicans by 10 points on inflation, by 17 points on immigration, by 7 points on tariffs. What else is there, right? So what is eroding it? If the Republicans are leading on that, what is happening here? What's happening here is all of the DEI and the woke fallout has crushed the Democrat Party. Now, we've got a year to pull a madman, like the candidate in New York, I call him Madman, and flip the script using the tools of modern communication. What did you call it? The
modern communications ecosystem.
Yeah, the modern communications ecosystem, where you step away from cable, you step away the dominance of 4 channels on TV. Podcasts matter, opinions matter, so many other things are bringing it out. You still have a year for that, and we've seen with Mandami what can happen, Pat, in a short time with the voting, but we got a year to where this gets serious. Next August 1st is where it really gets serious, because everybody that you read about on pollsters will tell you August 1st to October 1st next year is where the independents will move and choose as we go into midterms.
We'll see what'll happen. Adam, your thoughts on this?
The Democratic Party is a sinking ship, and I'm just so glad that I jumped off it a couple of years ago. I was on it for a little while, Scott. It was a bumpy ride. It was funny. We were at dinner last night. Thank you for a great dinner, PBD. And we ran into Roger Stone, and you're shaking Roger Stone's hand. And Vinny and Roger are doing their, pleasantries. And he said, "Hey, Adam," he goes, "this guy right here is the biggest Donald Trump fan out there." I was like, "Me?" And the reason I know he's joking about that is because once you sort of switch teams and you see what that team was, you're so disgusted by what's going on over there that you can't help but just like, look at these idiots over here. And what I'm starting to see is my Democratic
Jamie
friends.
Dimon called them idiots.
Yeah, Jamie Dimon said the following. He said they have big hearts and little brains. And that's what I've experienced. They say when you're young, if you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're older and if you're not a conservative, you have no brain. Jamie Dimon is in the thick of things.
He couldn't say this 5 years ago.
No, exactly. And Trump winning has given people a lot of cover to really say the truth. And then I think that's what's going on here. The number one thing that I think, in my opinion, I go around, I've said this a million times, go around giving people American flags. Very few people say, "No, I don't want one." And take a guess who does not want an American flag.
Democrats.
It is the super liberal Democrats who don't want to be caught looking like they love America. Say what you want about Trump and the Republican Party.
That, Adam.
I do too.
I love that you do that. Let me tell you. You have, whenever I'm running, you're giving people that American, that's your thing, that's your shtick. I freaking love that you do that, because it's a great case study to see how people react. Scott, your thoughts?
So my comment on what you said is 2 years ago you joined the Republicans. I think in the last 2 to 5 years, really since Trump, but really recently, his branding of the Republican Party as common sense versus, what's the alternative? Uncommon nonsense. He has scrambled the ideological deck. It's not really just conservative versus liberal anymore. It's not really just Republican versus Democrat. It's, for him, and he talked about it at the inaugural, it's just common sense versus the alternative. And a lot of people who never thought of themselves as Republicans, who never voted, who rarely voted, who don't think of themselves as caring about politics at all, who wouldn't want to be called Democrat or Republican, they love to be behind the guy. Well, that's just a common sense thing.
Yep.
The branding that he put on this is genius, because it makes your coalition more elastic. You can bring people in, non-political people who don't want to be caught up in the normal red-blue.
Of course.
They love common sense. And that's what he's selling. And by the way, if you look at the polling, it's working. He's got a common sense view on immigration. He's got a common sense view on cultural radicalism. He's got common sense view on, well, maybe it would be better if we had tariff policy that was advantaging American workers and not foreign countries. These are common sense concepts. You don't have to be steeped in conservative ideology to go, oh yeah, that sounds right to me. Common sense.
Scott,
beautiful.
When did you flip? Because, Daily Show did a nice little hit piece on you and basically saying that you were very critical of Trump at one point. Just like J.D. Vance, just like myself, just like a lot of other people. What caused you to flip?
Well, I voted Republican my whole life, and I did vote for him 3 times. But like everybody else, I didn't get it. I mean, I've readily admit I did not get it. I did not understand it. I did not get how this guy who hadn't been a Republican was coming along to take over the Republican Party. I did not get it. And so over time, I began to realize what he was doing, and I also began to realize the choice. And, in 2024, for me, there was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, the idea of common sense versus whatever it is she was selling. And so plus his opposition, the reflexive nature of his opposition to hate and try to delegitimize him on everything he does, I think is terrible for America. I mean, they're rooting. I mean, you wear that pin? They're rooting against America.
Yeah.
On the tariffs, all April, they were hoping it would fail.
Imagine that.
They're hoping it would fail.
America.
On Iran, when we bombed the missile sites. What's the first thing that happened? We got to impeach him.
Yeah,
he didn't do that much damage.
Yeah.
The immediate delegitimization of this guy. Every time he does something, they root for America's failure. So does he everything he does, do I like? No politician I'm 100% all the time. But I'll tell you this, I like it that he roots for America. And I hate it that they root against America just because he did it.
Bingo.
And I think that's why a lot of people are fine with it.
Let me ask you a follow-up on this, because forget about regular people. Talk about the people that you sit down with every single day. I'm going to assume they're not fans of Donald Trump.
No.
Starting with Abby Phillips all the way down that cast of characters. Do they hate Trump? Do they not love America? I mean, you're arguing with these people left and right. What is the common thread with most of these people?
Oh, I think for the left, for the ideological left, the motivating issue for them, and this is the core of the Democratic platform. If Trump is for it, we're against it. If he decided to do something, it inherently must be wrong. And every conversation is framed with that in mind. And so then you debate it out from there. But I think because they hate him personally, all decisions he makes must therefore be attacked or stated that it's going to somehow lead to America's downfall. Tax cuts, tariffs, judges, immigration policy, everything he ever does. Think about the apocalyptic language they use to describe everything. And it doesn't really turn out that way. Tax cuts were good for America. Turns out controlling the border means you can't actually close the border. It turns out the tariffs do give you leverage in trade negotiations. And so I just think it's a personal disposition. They hate this guy. Most of the people I debate with, they hate this guy.
Have you moved anybody?
Have I moved anybody?
Have you moved anybody? A little bit.
On those
anybody's
panels?
like, your friends.
I think I have made points that people say, I hadn't thought of that. But you have to understand, I'm debating people who fundamentally see the world differently than I see it. And look, I come from Kentucky. I'm a lifelong Republican. I'm a conservative. They don't come from middle America. They're lifelong liberals. And they also carry and harbor this personal hatred for Trump. And when that sort of colors your thinking about policy, you can see where the debates go.
Rob, can we see a clip of this Daily Show going after Scott? I'm trying to see, how do you go after Scott?
Oh, man.
The 29-year-old wunderkind, part of a nefarious White House scheme to systematically fire disobedient U.S. attorneys.
Jennings declined to answer most questions in the face of sharp complaints from Democrats.
Senator, pursuant to the president's assertion, I must respectfully decline to answer that question at this time. I must respectfully decline to answer your questions. I'm going to have to decline to answer.
This is
This is 3 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, July 27th.
If you keep playing it, it'll get to the point right here.
That question. I'll have to decline to answer that.
Wow. Worst Jeopardy contestant ever. I mean, not the point, but
he's
his
wearing
transformation
identically what
is
you were
full
wearing.
Jonah
Exactly.
Hill hair. I mean,
Look at his
pretty
hair.
soon he's gonna get those arm tats and won't shut up about his therapist. We get it, Jonah. But that was the last time Jennings would ever decline to share his opinion, because he soon joined CNN, where he made a name for himself as a rare conservative voice who would openly attack Donald Trump.
He's clearly violated his oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. This is outrageous. It's beyond the pale. Every Republican ought to be able to say so. We need a new nominee. If we nominate him again, we will lose.
What year is this, Scott? What year is this? All this going on?
The first stuff you saw was back when I worked for President Bush. Just as a quick history lesson, there was a kerfluffle in Washington about Bush's dismissal of some U.S. attorneys. It was a handful of them. I was a deputy to Karl Rove, and they subpoenaed several of us to talk about it. Karl did not show up at the hearing that day. I did, and the president gave me a letter to tell the Congress he was asserting executive privilege over my testimony. So what I did, I had to go there that day for several hours and effectively assert executive privilege over it. Ultimately, nothing really happened. Bush left office, and it all sort of went away. But it was a big kerfluffle in 2007.
Let me ask the other question: how much weight did you lose?
I've lost a lot of weight. I'll be honest. My weight's been up and down. I fought it my entire life. At my high point, I probably weighed 275 pounds. Today, I weigh about 178 pounds.
Holy shit! Good
100 pounds.
Yeah. By the way, I don't even recognize you.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize you. Good for you for having done that.
Kids
Respect.
call it a glow up. You're glowing up now.
Yeah, but to be honest,
I fight it every day. I mean, I'm not unique in that, but it's a hard thing to do.
You know who else talked openly about it that way? Ethan Suplee. I don't know if you remember Ethan, but Ethan was a whole. Do you know who Ethan Suplee is? If you type in Ethan Suplee, you'll know who he is.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
He's a complete different place.
Shout
but
out
okay,
to
all right. So while we're talking about this, Rob, can you go back to that poll? Just one thing for me to add to the poll of, what do you call it?
Democrat lowest approval.
Right. When you look at that poll, if you look at the two biggest declines, if these were two stocks, look at the biggest drop-offs. One of them is after 9/11, okay, which is what? President Bush. And the other one is what? After COVID. Look at that decline after COVID. Massive drop-off. After COVID, the Democrats tried to fully go crazy with ideas, and the American people just said, I don't know if I'm going to go that wild with you. By the way, do you think the amount of people that are partyless, like they're not linked to any party today, do you think that's getting bigger? Or do you think some of the people are like, man, because it is negative, right? It's still negative. It's like, it's not like it's positive and the Republican Party went up or it's still in the negative. Do you think there's millions of people that are trying to find a party that they don't relate to?
I think there are more people who dislike politics, period. And they don't necessarily trust political institutions or either parties. I think the Republicans are in far better shape. But yeah, I think we have a growing number of people in this country who, they just don't think of themselves as being party people. They might like an individual candidate. Obviously, there are people who love Donald Trump, but they just don't think of themselves as partisans. They think of themselves in some other way. And the Democrats, you mentioned COVID. It wasn't just COVID. It was COVID. But remember, the summer of 2020, the riots, the cultural sort of disposition that everybody else has to be locked in your house unless you're out protesting for a good reason, and then you're absolved somehow.
PBD, I want to give you a shout out because you pointed out something that we sort of just glossed over about how bad this is. Let me tell you how bad this is. In the last 35 years, the lowest any party has ever been is -20. And the Democrats are like, you know what? Hold my beer. We're about to go way lower than that. The Democratic brand is so tarnished, we've never seen a major party this low. The lowest the Republicans were
but
after 9/11, before COVID with Trump.
What I'm asking is the following.
Yep.
I'm asking to see, Scott, for you that follows all these stories and the polls and everything that's going on, is there an appetite for a Musk America party? Like, remember when Ross Perot started the Reform Party when it got 18.4%, and then he ran again in 96 and he only got 8.4%? Are we at a place that we have an appetite for people to join the third party?
I don't think so. First of all, our system is not built for independent candidacies. But I would just tell you, I think we already lived through this. Trump was our independent moment. Mm-hmm. I think the way he won in 16 and the way he won in 24, when you look at the people who voted for him, yes, most Republicans, but his attraction of people who were not terribly political, didn't think of themselves as being Republicans or conservatives or had voted Democrat, I think they were attracted to him because they saw him as an independent actor, somebody who would not be hemmed in by any political party or any political system. I think we already lived through this. In my opinion, He's a Republican. He's had a Republican Party, but he is also, I think, for a lot of people, somebody who was external to the system and therefore represented an independent kind of attitude in Washington.
Once a year, we host a conference called the Vol Conference. We're expecting nearly 12,000 people here at the event. Rob, you can play the clip and just turn off the audio while I'm going through it. And we have special guest speakers that will be there this year. You already know Tony Robbins. If you've never seen Tony Robbins live, you got to do whatever you can to come to this event. He's going to be speaking for a couple hours and doing a Q&A. And then we have Martha Stewart. We were able to get Martha Stewart to agree to come out, the first original influencer that became a billionaire in 99. She's going to share her tips on what she did. She's got a documentary that came out. Everybody I see, the ladies are like, oh my God, did you watch the documentary? This is your chance to get a chance to have an opportunity to meet her. And then David Falk, Michael Jordan's agent, who did all those big deals, will be at the Vol Conference. 3 days, 200-page manual we'll go through together. Best place for networking. Bring your spouse, bring your business partner. If you haven't yet registered, go to thevaultconference.com or that QR code right there. Get registered. Come spend 3.5 days with us, September 8th through the 11th at the Gaylord. And don't tell me you'll do it next year. I'm so tired of 25 years of hearing everybody saying next year, next year, next year. Do it now. Spend 3.5 days with us. We can't wait to see you there.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.